Shafele, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of iDiski Waya Waya, hosted by your boy King SMS Zwite. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Please like, comment, and share. And a big shout out to Ekaya Classic Records. This is where we are recording this podcast. Please make sure that if you need a podcast or you need to record something, please make sure that you holler at ekayaclassicrecord@gmail.com. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an amazing times in the soccer world, in the football world. Ever since bafethu niyazi ukuthi vele njengamanje siyaphuza pre-season kodwa ke iwindi livuliwe. A lot of teams have made some beautiful signings, and we're going to be talking about that. But today's episode is more about AMA Awards, because you know that we just came back from the PSL Awards. So hey, there's been a lot of controversial that have happened. A lot of people have been talking about the awards, and we're going to just talk a bit about that. And then we're going to look at the MTN 8, which is coming up in this weekend. Abalandeli beKaizer Chiefs ibongixolela ke ngoba ke ku-MTN 8 abangeni bona. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get straight into it. First of all, let's just look at some few signings. A big shout out to Orlando Pirates. I think they've made some amazing signings. I think for me, the biggest signing that they made was obviously the Austin Police, because Austin Police is one of the players that almost every team wanted him. Mamelodi Sundowns wanted him, Kaizer Chiefs wanted him. So the big three wanted Austin Police, and for a Pirate to be the ones that are getting his signature, I think this was like the big, they call it the Macue. That was the Macue signing. But before Apolis, the Macue signing was Sipho Mbule. So Sipho Mbule has signed with Orlando Pirates, and it was a really shocking news, because a lot of people were not expecting to see Sipho Mbule sign with Orlando Pirates. But coach Orlando Pirates Omusha has actually showed his interest to Sipho Mbule. So he has showed ukuthi vele kahle uyafuna ukuthi Sipho Mbule adlale Orlando Pirates. So I think ukusayina kwakhe Orlando Pirates akuthusanga kakhulu after bethola coach Omusha. So a big shout out to Orlando Pirates. They've made some beautiful signings, but I think just look at the two, Osina Police and Sipho Mbule. I think it's going to be an amazing season. Also, Kaizer Chiefs made some signings as well. According to Chiefs fans, those signings are not that huge. But I think according to Nasruddin Nabri, he has said that he doesn't care about names. He cares about the players that will understand the philosophy. And they signed Uspesi Ndlovu, which I really think it is a Macue signing. This is a beautiful signing, because I think uzofika nale dole short lapha midfield. I think ever since abadlala nje uTnashe negomashe nabo welatskatsane bahamba bekushota lo muntu lo ozoba ne hardcore center. So also nohamba Yusuf Mart as went to say overseas. So I think nohamba kwakhe naye needed someone that can come in and fill up the space. So they've made some those amazing signings with especially Ndlovu, but also they've made signing with Paseka Marco from Orlando Pirates, and then Nomunyane from Orlando Pirates as well. Now they are playing for Kaizer Chiefs. So I think it's going to be a beautiful season. I think it's going to be an amazing season. But today's episode is more about the awards, and I want to get straight into the PSL Awards. So on Tuesday night, there was PSL Awards, and a lot of people have really been not happy. They've been unhappy about the decision that they've made in terms of the awards. So just to break it down, some few people that won. So player of the season was obviously Lucas Ribeiro from Mamelodi Sundowns. Player of the season was Lucas Ribeiro from Mamelodi Sundowns. Young player of the season was Rebule Mufukeng from Orlando Pirates. And then the two, which I think for me, those were the one that broke the internet. It was the defender of the season. So the defender of the season was Nkosi Nasi Sibisi from Orlando Pirates, who's actually now an official Orlando Pirates captain in this coming season. And then the midfielder of the season, was Makaula Makehleni, which for me, I've been saying this even in some of the previous episodes. I've been saying that for me, I think Makaule is an engine of that Orlando Pirates defense. And I'm not shocked that he won the midfield of the season. Even though I would have thought maybe a player like Marcelo Allende from Mamelodi Sundowns would have won that award, because I think he also played very well. I know a lot of people are saying Tebogo Mokoena, but for me, I don't really think Tebogo Mokoena was supposed to win that award. Marcelo Allende, yes. But also there's something that I always wanted to say about AMA Awards. You know what the tricky thing is that like when you look at Marcelo Allende, no no Makahleni Makaula. These are two midfielders who are not playing the same position. So then, how do you judge them? Do you judge them based on goals? Because if you're going to judge them based on goals, Makahleni Makaula is not his job to score goals. You understand? His job is to make sure that he's a defensive midfielder. So he makes sure that he needs to usher the midfielder, needs to make sure that he protects the defender. Okay? He also needs to make sure that a midfielder where protects and a swing. So his job is not really to create chances as much. That's why there's a player like Patrick Mosanganye, for example, who's the player who's supposed to create chances. So a player like Marcelo Allende then is a player that creates chances. He's a player that you're gonna get on top of that you're gonna get in front of goals, that can be able to have an opportunity to score goals. So then if you're going to judge a midfielder of the season and then you say Marcelo Allende deserves it because he's got more goals than Makahleni Makaula, then it's a problem because these people are not playing the same role grounding, you understand? So I think that's one of the things that really needs to be checked in when it comes to these awards. Maybe they say we get a central midfielder of the season and then we get the attacking midfielder of the season, because you awards katanisa midfielder, attacking midfielder and central midfielder. This it was a midfielder and attacking midfielder. These people are playing different roles, so you can't really work this up. Defense of the season maybe Nakona, but Nakona also. There is someone who plays left back and who plays right back, and then there's someone who plays central defense. Those people are also not playing different roles, as much as their role is to defend. But sometimes, as like Umuto Jale right back or left back, sometimes they have an opportunity to attack and they have an opportunity to have goal scoring opportunities. So I think in the Yama award is a bit tricky, but yeah. A lot of people were surprised about Kosnas CBC. But for me, I think that's the thing. I think it's just tricky when it comes to awards, because I understand Abalance with Sundowns by a complainer, but like you're looking at a coach like Cardoso for me, I wouldn't say Cardoso deserves to get a coach of the season, because you've got Riverio, who's been doing very well, who I think is the one who's supposed to get coach of the season. But again, because Cardoso won the league, then it means was the best coach out of the whole league. But for me, I think the best coach is actually someone who's been developing, who's been making sure that who's been making sure that the team grows. You understand? So when it comes to such things, I think it's a bit tricky. And I understand why the Sundowns, they kind of feel like, they kind of feel like Marcelo Allende deserved a midfield of the season rather than Makahleni Makaula. But if you can go back to some of the few episodes that I did at the beginning of the season, I did speak about the role Makahleni Makaula is playing with Orlando Pirates. And I did say, I feel like he's an engineer. Pirates. So for him to win midfielder of the season, for me, I think I didn't really cool, But again, my thing is that how do you then compare a midfielder who's an attacking midfielder and a midfielder who's a defensive midfielder, because they are not playing the same roles. So maybe it's a time that PSL Awards can have like a midfielder of the season who's an attacker, and then a midfielder of the season who's a defender, who's a defensive midfielder. So at least you know that these people are competing and they're playing the same role. You understand? But other than that, I think it's gonna be an interesting season. We are going to the MTN 8, and I really can't wait to see who's gonna go through to the semi-finals. So Orlando Pirates is playing up against Polokwane City, and then Mamelodi Sundowns is playing up against Richards Bay, and then we've got Sekhukhune United up against TX Galaxy, and then Stellenbosch is up against Amazulu. So make sure that you check out the MTN 8. This is going to be happening this weekend. There's also a very interesting story that is actually happening whereby Cape Town City Ivuleli Marumo Gallants about the player that has played which also means that kungenzeka Chiefs mhlawumbe ithola ama-point because that player played against Kaizer Chiefs when Marumo Gallant won to Kaizer Chiefs 2-0. So if that happens, that basically means the Chiefs has an opportunity to play MTN 8. But by the look of things, I think that is, the ruling needs to happen actually today, as I'm shooting this episode. The ruling needs to happen. So it basically means after, as you watch this, the ruling have already been made. So we're gonna find out what's gonna happen. But it looks like something that's not gonna change, because MTN is happening this weekend. But it's just an interesting news that we keep on looking at. Also, Nasruddin Nares did say that Kaizer Chiefs I got to sign. So it means We might see some amazing signing just before the season starts. But it's gonna be interesting. I bet a Premiership. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for always making sure that you subscribe. We see you, we see the love. Please make sure that you keep on subscribing, you keep on liking, and you keep on dropping those comments. Ladies and gentlemen, this is iDiski Waya Waya right here on Buckingo Betonga TV, brought to you by your boy King SMS Zwite. See you in the next one, same time, same place. Bye, Taco. Thank you.